Welcome to the Rise and Wander podcast, where we'll explore adventure, spirituality, and empowerment through the outdoors and beyond. Join me, Carla Amador, as we focus on topics around the mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional benefits derived through the outdoors. You'll also hear inspiring stories, get educated, and more. Let's get started. This season's podcast is sponsored by Oboz Footwear, based out of Bozeman, Montana. I proudly wear my Oboz footwear for hiking, traveling, and more. They have many styles and options to choose from for all your winter and hiking needs. Looking for hiking boots, recovery shoes, or fast and light hikers? Look no further and check them out at obozfootwear.com. Welcome to episode 5 of the Rise and Wander podcast, season 2. Today, we're going to be talking all about medical considerations when it comes to climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. Now, I want to start off by saying I am not a medical professional, so make sure to check in with your doctor before deciding if you want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. These are some basic things to think about, things that we did so that you can consider what you'll need for your specific climb and also hopefully a successful summit. Okay, so I want to start off with some just starting points, okay? Going to Africa, you will potentially need to update your vaccines. So the best resource you can go to is the cdc.gov and then search Tanzania, because that is where Kilimanjaro is located. And I would do that as soon as I booked my trip, because some of these vaccinations that you may need to get, you might need to do them months in advance. Okay. I'm not going to get into the details. You can go to that website and learn what vaccinations are mandatory versus what is recommended, optional, etc. And I know that you know what is best for you. So I just want to start off by letting you know that is the resource. And also, just from my personal experience, overall, there are medications that people take, like malaria tablets and all of that. When we were on the climb, some people were taking the malaria tablets with another medication called Diamox. Diamox is really a medication that helps you with altitude sickness. And so a lot of the people on my trek decided to take Diamox to succeed because it's a big investment. And so I actually chose to take Diamox because I do get altitude sickness and I wanted to increase my chances of summiting. Some of us were feeling a little bit sick, and then we spoke to our guide and he was like, do not mix the two. And he actually suggested we not take the malaria pills on the mountain and just stick to the Diamox. Now, again, this is the feedback we received from our guide. You need to do what's best for you and speak to your doctor. But I do know that once, for example, that I did that, I felt a lot better and I wasn't feeling so queasy. Those are some starting points. If you do get altitude sickness, you may want to talk to your doctor about that specific medication called Diamox. Now, it was not without side effects, and I'm just going to share my experience with that. I had some tingling in my fingers, tingling in my face. It was definitely an interesting experience, but I did summit. So on the topic of considerations, I actually was looking up online just some things to share with you today, and some things to take very seriously are altitude sickness. And so for those of you that live in elevations, like I now live at 7,000 plus feet, I was practicing up at 12 and 13,000 feet, and that really helped me to stay acclimated. But now you're going up to 19,000 feet and something really serious can happen called acute mountain sickness. And usually symptoms of that are things like nausea, headache, vomiting, feeling dizzy, not being able to sleep, feeling fatigued. For me, I made the summit, and on the way down, about halfway down, I started to feel extremely sick. And for me, it was the headache, it was the nausea. I felt awful. And I'm very thankful I got to summit without any issues. And then all of a sudden, it came on. So I almost call it like a post altitude sickness for myself. Every body is different. You do need to listen to your body and the guides. You need to be honest with the guides. Your life is worth it. So if you're feeling very sick, you need to let your guides know. They will take you down or they'll be able to help you with additional oxygen, et cetera. They'll make that call. There is also HACE, it's severe mountain sickness, basically, or HAPE. These are all different conditions. I'm not going to get into the full details, but these are life threatening conditions. And this is when you're like coughing up blood, et cetera. And that can happen at altitude. And I'm not trying to scare you from doing the things that you want to do. I just really want for you to know that going up in altitude changes the oxygen level, and that can cause some of these illnesses. And so knowing what options you have is really important. Getting an assessment before you go up and hike something like Mount Kilimanjaro is really wise. For us, every morning we were having our pulse read through a pulse oximeter machine, and they were basically assessing like how are we doing. And I know that because we went so slow, we all made it to summit day. Had one of us been ill, we would have had to have gone down or stayed in our camp until feeling better. I think it's really important beforehand to go get checked with your doctor, make sure you're up to date on any medications, vaccines that you may need, and let them know, hey, I'm planning for this trip, and make sure that your heart is in good condition and that you're in overall good physical health. On the topic of oxygen, I got a connection with a company called O2 Boost, and they actually sent me some extra oxygen tablets that I took on the trail with me and took every day. And I felt really great. They are a really great company. It's a startup. I'm not being paid sponsorship by them, but I really did feel this helped a lot with just having extra energy, not feeling tired every day. And I did give this to some of my fellow climbers, and they all raved about it. And so I definitely was very thankful to have that opportunity to have any extra support that I could to get up this mountain. And basically, it's just oxygen that they've been able to get into these tablets. So it's good as you're going up and you're losing that oxygen to have something that can support you. So I just wanted to share that in addition to having your vitamins and your electrolytes, which I talk about just being so important, eating good food, making sure that you've been taking care of your body, feeding yourself really well, taking it slow. I wanted to take a moment to thank this season's Rise and Wander podcast sponsor, REI. REI is the outdoor gear retailer of the 52 Hike Challenge. I've been a member since I started my 52 hikes in 2012, and they've helped outfit me for all things hiking and outdoors since then. Becoming a member has many perks like 10% back annually on eligible purchases, a satisfaction guarantee, which gives you up to a year to return any purchases you aren't satisfied with, free shipping in the US, and so much more. Please visit them at rei.com. Join me for a year of hiking in 2025 with the 52 Hike Challenge. Commit to your personal journey outdoors alongside a supportive community and make 2025 your year of hiking. Take your family, friends, furry pets on an adventure they'll always cherish. Plus, you'll gain the physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional benefits derived through nature and hiking. Learn more and sign up at www.52hikechallenge.com. And see you on the trails. The big quote on the mountain was pole pole, take it slow and easy. So that way you're acclimatizing. Making sure you're staying hydrated is so important, not only before you're hiking Mount Kilimanjaro, but on your trek. And sure, some of you have questions about water, but I know they were treating the water for us. That was not an issue. In addition to getting your physical fitness, your wellness check, and all of that, make sure that you bring your medications with you. Things that other people brought on the trek were things for stomach, flu. Someone did get sick on our trip and she still summited. She ended up having a pretty bad cold. And some people had some stomach things come up. So making sure you have all of that. For me, I know on summit day, I wasn't really able to sleep. So you might want to bring vitamins for that, or maybe you have some sort of sleeping aid that you want to take. Like I said, these are all considerations. Definitely bringing your bug repellent and all of that. Those are really important things. All right. We've talked a little bit about some medical considerations and things to look out for. I highly recommend you do your own due diligence on altitude sickness, acute mountain sickness, and all of that, just so you know. While we were there, there were a few times where we saw some people that did not look well towards the summit. And to me, that was a clear indication that they had pushed themselves above their own limitations. And it's just not worth it. I think one of the biggest things we try to teach is don't get summit fever and put yourself in a situation where if you know you're not feeling well, do yourself a favor and turn around. It's not worth your life. You want to make sure that your guides are trained for emergencies and what their plan is in case of emergencies, evacuation, and all of that. Being aware of those risks is really important. And then, really, the last thing that I think I want to talk about is like mental health. There were a few times, especially on summit day, where number one, it's such a long day. Okay. And I will leave the stories for a recap of the actual trip in one of the episodes that are coming up. But being at the summit felt like a dream, and you definitely could feel the lack of oxygen. I remember feeling lots of silence as I was taking each step. I literally was like, just take one step. I remember I had to talk to myself and be like, just focus on your breath. And I'm a longtime meditator. And I know that really helped me to just stay focused on breathing and calming myself and just staying focused. As we got to the summit, it was very emotional. And I would almost suspect, and I did see this with our group, is a lot of emotion. Okay. And that's great. You're doing something incredibly epic and also life changing, lifelong dream, and all of that. Being aware that you are going to experience so many different emotions and how to handle that. Breathing is one of the best things you can do. Meditating is such a great tool, yoga to help you to calm yourself down. So I think the elation was great. Now, on the way down, there were quite a few people that were having moments that were really challenging. And knowing that we had each other really helped. So I was really able to help some of the people on the way down with whatever was coming up, helping them, supporting them. Our guides were also very good about that. And just know that summit day is going to be intense and you're going to go through so many emotions. So taking care of your mental health, your mental well-being is really important. Having tools. What do I need to do to take care of myself if I don't get to the summit? Or what if I'm having a really hard time and like the negative mental self-talk starts coming up? Even some educational, additional mountaineering classes is a really good idea because then you'll feel like I know what I need to do. And always trust yourself, follow your intuition when it comes to being out there and your health. If you're not feeling good, listen to that and ask for help. Like at the end of the day, I think the guides helped us a lot. They would tell us, like, hey, let me carry your pack and let them help you because they want you to succeed. They want you to make the summit. And those extra maybe 15 pounds you're carrying might make the difference between a summit and not summiting. I haven't talked a lot about the other things that are going to potentially come up, like body pain and aches, blisters, and all of that. For the most part, in our group, we didn't have any blisters again because I think everyone was training in their shoes. For the most part, everyone was fine, but just be aware you need to know how to take care of blisters. I talk all about blisters in season one when I was talking about how many people were having blisters on the Camino. And so knowing how to treat blisters is important. Just carrying blister aid is really important as well. And then stretching when you're on break, stretching after your trek is really going to make a big difference in your hiking. So that is it for today's episode. I hope this was helpful in just thinking through some things you're going to need to consider. And I think with proper planning, with the right team, the medical team, and with the right medications and vitamins and taking care of yourself with the tools that you can get prior to hiking, this is going to be much easier for you. And like I said, there isn't anything I would have changed for my particular hike. I feel like I did everything that I needed to do to take care of myself. And in that, I was able to help everyone else that was a part of my group. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next episode. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and also share it with a friend. Leave us a review, and I'll see you next episode. Bye.